Simon Cowell is a name that needs no introduction. For decades, he's been the face of talent shows, the man behind the desk with the sharp tongue and the even sharper eye for talent, from American Idol to The X Factor and Britain's Got Talent. Simon has shaped the music industry and discovered some of the world's biggest stars. But behind the glitz, the headlines, and the viral moments, there's a side to Simon Cowell that few have ever seen. A side marked by vulnerability, love, and the kind of heartbreak that can change a person forever. Today, we're taking you inside the emotional journey that led to Simon Cowell's emotional goodbye. After his son's heartbreaking diagnosis, a story that has touched millions and revealed the true depth of a man known for his unbreakable exterior. To understand the gravity of this moment, we have to go back to the beginning. Simon Cowell's rise to fame was anything but ordinary. Born in London in 1959, Simon grew up in a family that valued hard work and ambition. His father, Eric, was an executive in the music industry, and his mother, Julie, was a ballet dancer. From an early age, Simon was exposed to the world of entertainment, but he didn't have an easy path. He struggled in school, often clashing with teachers and authority figures. After a series of odd jobs, Simon found his way into the music business, starting at the very bottom and working his way up. His relentless drive and keen instincts eventually led him to become one of the most powerful figures in television and music. But for all his professional success, Simon's personal life was often a source of speculation and gossip. He was known for his bachelor lifestyle, his high-profile relationships, and his reluctance to settle down. That all changed in 2014 when Simon and his partner, Lauren Silverman, welcomed their son, Eric, into the world. Named after Simon's late father, Eric's arrival marked a turning point in Simon's life. Friends and colleagues noticed a softer side to the famously tough judge. He spoke openly about how fatherhood had changed him, making him more patient, more compassionate, and more aware of what truly mattered. Simon's bond with his son quickly became the center of his world. He often spoke about how Eric brought him joy and perspective, grounding him in ways he never expected. The two were frequently seen together at events, on vacations, and even backstage at talent shows. Simon's social media began to fill with photos of father and son, sharing moments of laughter, adventure, and simple happiness. For the first time, Simon seemed content not just with his career, but with his role as a father. But life, as Simon has often said, is unpredictable. In the midst of his professional triumphs, Simon was blindsided by news that would shake his family to its core. Eric, still just a young child, was diagnosed with a serious medical condition. The details were kept private, but those close to the family described it as a heartbreaking and life-altering moment. Simon, who had always been the pillar of strength for others, suddenly found himself facing a challenge he couldn't control or fix with a clever remark or a business deal. The diagnosis forced Simon to reevaluate everything. He scaled back his work commitments, canceled appearances, and withdrew from the public eye to focus on his son's health and well-being. Friends described him as utterly devoted, spending every possible moment with Eric and Lauren, seeking out the best doctors and doing everything in his power to support his family. For a man who had built his reputation on being unflappable, the vulnerability was striking. Simon's emotional goodbye to the world he had dominated for so long was not a dramatic exit, but a quiet, deeply personal decision to put family first. As news of Eric's diagnosis began to leak, fans and colleagues rallied around Simon, offering messages of support and encouragement. The outpouring of love was overwhelming. a testament to the impact Simon had made on so many lives. In the next section, we'll explore how Simon navigated this new reality, the sacrifices he made, and the lessons he learned as he faced the most difficult chapter of his life. The world watched as Simon Cowell, once the unshakable titan of television, stepped back from the spotlight. For years, he had been the driving force behind some of the most successful talent shows in history. His presence a guarantee of drama, excitement, and, often, controversy. But now, Simon's priorities had shifted in a way that few could have predicted. The diagnosis of his beloved son Eric had changed everything, and Simon was determined to be there for his family, no matter the cost to his career or public image. In the months following Eric's diagnosis, Simon's absence from television became increasingly noticeable. Fans speculated about his whereabouts, and rumors swirled in the tabloids. Some claimed he was simply taking a break, while others suggested he was dealing with health issues of his own. But those closest to Simon knew the truth. He was pouring all his energy into supporting Eric and Lauren, navigating a maze of medical appointments, treatments, and sleepless nights. The man who had once thrived on control and certainty was now facing a world of unknowns, where every day brought new challenges and anxieties. Simon's devotion to his son was unwavering. He became a fixture at the hospital, sitting by Eric's bedside, reading stories, and doing everything he could to keep his spirits up. Friends described Simon as utterly transformed. No longer the sharp-tongued judge, but a gentle, attentive father who would do anything to see his son smile. He leaned on Lauren for strength, and together they formed a united front, determined to give Eric the best possible care and the most normal childhood they could manage under the circumstances. The experience forced Simon to confront emotions he had long kept at bay. He spoke candidly to close friends about his fears, his regrets, and the overwhelming sense of helplessness that came with watching his child suffer. For a man who had built his life on making tough decisions and calling the shots, the loss of control was agonizing. Yet, in those quiet moments by Eric's side, Simon discovered a new kind of strength, one rooted not in power or success, but in love, vulnerability, and the willingness to put someone else's needs above his own. As the weeks turned into months, Simon's perspective on life began to shift. He found himself reflecting on his own childhood, his relationship with his parents, and the lessons he wanted to pass on to Eric. He realized that, for all his achievements, nothing mattered more than the health and happiness of his family. The glitz and glamour of show business faded into the background, replaced by the simple joys of being present for the people he loved. Simon's decision to step away from his career was not without its challenges. He faced pressure from networks, producers, and business partners who were eager for his return. Contracts had to be renegotiated, projects put on hold, and difficult conversations had with colleagues who depended on his leadership. But Simon was resolute. He made it clear that his family came first, and that he would not compromise on his commitment to Eric and Lauren. This newfound clarity brought a sense of peace, even as the future remained uncertain. Throughout this period, Simon found solace in the support of friends, fans, and even former contestants from his shows. Messages poured in from around the world. Words of encouragement, prayers, and stories from others who had faced similar struggles. Simon was deeply moved by the outpouring of empathy, and he began to see his own experience as part of a larger human story. One of resilience, hope, and the power of community. As Eric's treatment continued, there were moments of hope and moments of despair. Simon learned to cherish the good days, to celebrate small victories, and to find gratitude in the midst of hardship. He became an advocate for families facing similar challenges, using his platform to raise awareness and support for children's health charities. In the next section, we'll delve deeper into how Simon's journey changed him, the impact it had on his relationships, and the legacy he hopes to leave for his son. As Simon Cowell's world narrowed to the hospital corridors and quiet moments at home, the transformation in his character became even more profound. The man who once thrived on the adrenaline of live television and the cutthroat world of entertainment now found meaning in the smallest gestures. A smile from Eric, a reassuring word from Lauren, or a message of hope from a stranger. The experience of caring for his son through illness stripped away the layers of celebrity and exposed the core of who Simon truly was: a father, a partner, and a man learning to navigate the depths of love and vulnerability. Simon's relationship with Lauren deepened in ways neither of them could have anticipated. The stress and uncertainty of Eric's diagnosis could have driven them apart, but instead, it brought them closer together. They became each other's anchor, sharing the burden of fear and the responsibility of making difficult decisions. Simon, who had always been fiercely independent, learned to lean on Lauren for support, trusting her instincts and drawing strength from her unwavering optimism. Their partnership became a testament to the power of love in the face of adversity, and friends noted that Simon seemed more open, more present, and more grateful than ever before. The impact of Eric's illness also rippled outward, touching Simon's relationships with friends, colleagues, and even the contestants he had mentored over the years. Many reached out to offer their support, sharing their own stories of struggle and resilience. Simon was humbled by the kindness he received, and he began to see his own journey as part of a much larger tapestry of human experience. He realized that, for all his success, he was not immune to the challenges that life could bring. This newfound humility changed the way he interacted with others, making him more empathetic and more willing to listen. During this time, Simon also became more involved in charitable work, particularly in the area of children's health. He used his platform to raise awareness about the challenges faced by families dealing with serious illness, and he quietly donated to hospitals and research organizations. Simon's efforts were not about publicity or image. They were a genuine expression of gratitude for the care Eric received and a desire to help others facing similar battles. He met with doctors, nurses, and other parents, listening to their stories and offering whatever support he could. For Simon, this work became a source of healing, a way to channel his pain into something positive. Despite the challenges, there were moments of light and laughter. Simon made it a priority to create happy memories for Eric, even in the midst of treatment. He organized small family outings, movie nights at home, and special surprises to lift Eric's spirits. These moments became precious reminders of the resilience of children and the power of hope. Simon often spoke about how much he learned from his son's courage, describing Eric as his greatest teacher. The experience taught Simon to appreciate the present, to let go of perfection, and to find joy in the everyday. As the months passed, Simon began to reimagine his future. He knew that his priorities had shifted forever, and he was determined to build a life that reflected his new values. He started to think about the legacy he wanted to leave for Eric, not just in terms of wealth or fame, but in the lessons he could pass on about love, perseverance, and kindness. Simon became more intentional in his actions, choosing projects that aligned with his values, and spending more time with the people who mattered most. In the next section, we'll explore how Simon's journey affected his career. The difficult decisions he faced about returning to the public eye, and the ways in which his emotional goodbye resonated with fans and colleagues around the world. Simon Cowell's story is one of transformation, resilience, and the enduring power of a father's love, a story that continues to inspire and move all who hear it. As Simon Cowell's personal journey unfolded, the world outside continued to turn. Television networks, production companies, and fans all wondered if the man who had become a fixture in their living rooms would ever return to the spotlight. For Simon, the decision was anything but simple. The entertainment industry is relentless, and stepping away, even for the most understandable reasons, can mean losing momentum, influence, and opportunities. Yet, Simon's priorities had shifted so dramatically that the allure of fame and fortune no longer held the same power over him. He was determined to be present for Eric and Lauren, to give them the stability and love they needed during such a turbulent time. Behind the scenes, Simon faced mounting pressure from business partners and executives. Contracts had to be renegotiated, and some projects were quietly shelved or handed off to others. There were difficult conversations with colleagues who had come to rely on his leadership and vision. Some understood immediately, offering their support and encouragement, while others struggled to accept the new reality. Simon, always direct, made it clear that his family came first. He explained that while he was grateful for the opportunities his career had given him, nothing was more important than being there for his son. The public, too, began to notice Simon's absence. Social media buzzed with speculation, and news outlets published stories about his decision to step back. Some fans expressed disappointment, while others rallied around him, sending messages of love and support. The outpouring of empathy was overwhelming, and Simon was deeply moved by the kindness of strangers. He realized that, in sharing his vulnerability, he had given others permission to do the same. People from all walks of life reached out, with their own stories of struggle and resilience, creating a sense of community and connection that transcended fame. During this period, Simon's team worked hard to manage his public image. They released carefully worded statements, emphasizing his commitment to family and his gratitude for the support he had received. Simon himself remained largely silent, choosing to focus on his private life rather than engage with the media. This silence only fueled speculation, but it also allowed Simon the space he needed to heal and to be fully present for Eric. As time went on, Simon began to consider what a return to work might look like. He knew that he could never go back to the way things were before. The experience of caring for Eric had changed him too deeply. He wanted to find a way to balance his passion for discovering new talent with his commitment to his family. Simon started to explore new projects that would allow him to work from home or on a more flexible schedule. He also became more selective about the opportunities he pursued, choosing only those that aligned with his values and allowed him to make a positive impact. Simon's emotional goodbye to the world of nonstop television was not a dramatic exit, but a quiet, thoughtful transition. He began to mentor young producers and talent scouts, sharing his knowledge and experience without the pressure of being in the spotlight. He also continued his charitable work, supporting children's hospitals and health organizations, often behind the scenes. Simon found fulfillment in these new roles, discovering that he could still make a difference without sacrificing the well-being of his family. The entertainment industry, for its part, adapted to Simon's new reality. New judges and hosts were brought in to fill his shoes, and while the shows continued, there was a sense that something had changed. Simon's absence was felt not just in the ratings, but in the spirit of the programs he had helped create. Fans and colleagues alike spoke of his legacy, remembering the moments of honesty, humor, and heart that had defined his career. In the next section, we'll look at how Simon's journey inspired others, the lessons he learned along the way, and the hopes he holds for the future. Simon Cowell's emotional goodbye was not just an end, but the beginning of a new chapter, one defined by love, resilience, and the enduring bond between a father and his son. Simon Cowell's journey through heartbreak and healing did not go unnoticed, as word spread about his decision to step back and focus on his family. People from all corners of the globe found themselves inspired by his vulnerability and strength. For years, Simon had been known as the tough, sometimes ruthless judge who never shied away from speaking his mind. Now, he was showing the world a different kind of courage. The courage to put love and family above all else. Even when it meant letting go of the career he had built from the ground up. The impact of Simon's story rippled far beyond the entertainment industry. Parents facing similar challenges found comfort in his example, realizing that it was okay to step back, to ask for help, and to prioritize their children's needs. Simon received countless letters and messages from families who had walked the same path, sharing their own stories of hope, fear, and resilience. Many wrote to thank him for using his platform to raise awareness about children's health issues and for reminding the world that even the most successful people are not immune to life's hardships. Simon's openness about his struggles also sparked important conversations about mental health, both within the entertainment industry and beyond. He spoke candidly about the emotional toll of watching his child suffer, the anxiety and sleepless nights, and the importance of seeking support. By sharing his own experiences, Simon helped to break down the stigma surrounding mental health, encouraging others to speak up and reach out. His honesty resonated with fans and colleagues alike, many of whom admitted that they too had struggled in silence. Throughout this period, Simon continued to find ways to give back. He became more involved in charitable work, supporting organizations that provide medical care, emotional support, and financial assistance to families in need. He used his influence to advocate for better healthcare policies and increased funding for research into childhood illnesses. Simon's efforts were not about publicity or image. They were a genuine reflection of his gratitude for the care Eric received and his desire to help others facing similar battles. As Simon navigated this new chapter, he also found himself reflecting on the lessons he wanted to pass on to his son. He spoke about the importance of kindness, resilience, and never giving up, no matter how difficult the road may seem. Simon wanted Eric to know that true success is not measured by fame or fortune, but by the love we give and the lives we touch. He became more intentional in his actions, choosing projects that aligned with his values, and spending more time with the people who mattered most. Simon's emotional goodbye to the world of television was not a farewell to his passion for discovering talent or making a difference. Instead, it was a conscious choice to redefine what success meant to him. He found fulfillment in mentoring young artists, supporting charitable causes, and being present for his family. Simon's story became a powerful reminder that it's never too late to change, to grow, and to choose a different path. The entertainment industry, for its part, learned from Simon's example. Producers, executives, and fellow judges began to speak more openly about the pressures of the business and the importance of work-life balance. Simon's decision to step back paved the way for others to do the same, creating a culture of empathy and understanding that had long been missing from the fast-paced world of show business. As we approach the final section of Simon Cowell's story, it's clear that his emotional goodbye was not an ending, but a new beginning. In the next and final section, we'll explore the legacy Simon hopes to leave for his son, the impact he's had on the world, and the enduring power of love and resilience in the face of life's greatest challenges. The story of Simon Cowell and his son is one of hope, transformation, and the unbreakable bond between a father and his child. As Simon Cowell settled into his new reality, the world continued to watch. Many still hoping for his return to the spotlight, but most simply wishing him and his family peace. The journey he had taken, one marked by heartbreak, transformation, and ultimately hope, became a story that resonated far beyond the world of entertainment. For Simon, the experience of facing his son's diagnosis and stepping away from his career was not just a personal trial, but a profound lesson in what truly matters. Simon's legacy, once defined by his sharp critiques and eye for talent, was now being rewritten in quieter, more meaningful ways. He became a symbol of parental devotion, showing that even the most powerful and successful among us are vulnerable when it comes to the people we love. His willingness to be open about his struggles, to share his fears and doubts, made him more relatable than ever before. Fans who had once admired him for his professional achievements now respected him for his humanity, his humility, and his courage to put family first. In the months and years that followed, Simon continued to support children's health charities, often working behind the scenes to raise funds and awareness. He attended events, met with families, and used his influence to advocate for better health care and support systems for children facing serious illnesses. Simon's efforts were not about reclaiming the spotlight, but about making a tangible difference in the lives of others. He understood, perhaps better than anyone, the importance of community, compassion, and the power of collective action. At home, Simon focused on creating a sense of normalcy and joy for Eric. He cherished the simple moments, family dinners, walks in the park, bedtime stories. These everyday rituals became the foundation of their bond, a source of comfort and strength for both father and son. Simon often spoke about how much he learned from Eric's resilience, describing his son as his greatest inspiration. The experience taught Simon to slow down, to appreciate the present, and to find happiness in the little things. As Eric's health stabilized, Simon began to think about the future, not just for himself, but for his son. He wanted to ensure that Eric grew up knowing he was loved, supported, and capable of overcoming any challenge. Simon became more intentional in his parenting, teaching Eric the values of kindness, perseverance, and empathy. He encouraged his son to pursue his passions, to be curious about the world, and to never be afraid to ask for help. Simon's own journey had shown him that strength is not about never falling, but about always getting back up. The impact of Simon's story extended far beyond his immediate circle. Parents, children, and even strangers who had never met him found hope in his example. His willingness to speak openly about his struggles helped to break down the stigma surrounding illness and mental health, encouraging others to seek support and share their own stories. Simon's journey became a beacon of hope for families facing similar challenges, a reminder that they were not alone. In the entertainment industry, Simon's absence was felt, but his influence endured. The shows he helped create continued, guided by the principles of honesty, integrity, and a genuine love for discovering new talent. Simon's protégés carried on his legacy, mentoring the next generation of artists and producers. The culture of empathy, an understanding that Simon had helped foster began to take root, changing the way the industry approached work, life balance, and personal well-being. Looking back, Simon Cowell's emotional goodbye was not a farewell to his passion or his dreams, but a conscious choice to live a life aligned with his deepest values. He showed the world that it's possible to be both successful and compassionate, to lead with both strength and vulnerability. His story is a testament to the power of love, the importance of family, and the resilience of the human spirit. As Simon continues his journey, he does so with a renewed sense of purpose and hope. He knows that life will always bring challenges, but he also knows that with love, support, and a willingness to adapt, anything is possible. The legacy he leaves for Eric, and for all who have followed his story, is one of courage, transformation, and the enduring power of a father's love. And in that, Simon Cowell has found his greatest success of all.